The piercing wail of a heart monitor cut through the clinical stillness of the pediatric intensive care unit as 12-year-old Emma's life signs dropped past the threshold of survival. Dr. Sarah Mitchell observed with mounting dread as the digital readings told a dire story. Her lungs were failing, her heart was on the verge of stopping, and based on every medical assessment she had conducted throughout her 2-decade career, this courageous child had approximately 3 minutes remaining. The events that followed would shake the foundations of everything the healthcare team believed about medicine, possibility, and the profound connection between a young patient and her canine protector. For 8 months, Emma Rodriguez had been waging battle against a rare condition where her immune system attacked her own body, a fight that even cutting-edge medical interventions seemed powerless to stop. Her mother and father, Maria and Carlos, had depleted their financial resources, their optimism, and almost their belief as they witnessed their lively daughter gradually wither in her hospital bed. Yet throughout this ordeal, one unwavering source of solace and courage remained, a golden retriever called Max, who had been Emma's devoted friend since her 5th year of life. Max transcended the role of simple pet. He was her constant presence, her trusted listener, and her inspiration for joy even during the bleakest moments. The medical facility maintained rigid regulations prohibiting animals in the intensive care unit, yet Dr. Mitchell had observed something remarkable during the weeks preceding this critical juncture. Each time Max received permission to enter, Emma's medical indicators would steady, her discomfort appeared to lessen, and a glimmer would resurface in her weary gaze. The nursing team had started identifying correlations. Emma's respiration would normalize when Max rested his head against her mattress. Her pulse would settle when his comforting presence permeated the space, and her willingness to eat would improve following his appearances. It seemed as though this tender giant wielded some enigmatic restorative force that contemporary medical science couldn't comprehend or duplicate. If this remarkable account of devotion and companionship resonates with you, please consider liking this video, sharing your reflections in the comments, and subscribing to Untold Stories 0.4 for additional uplifting narratives that honor the unshakable connection between people and their animal friends. Your engagement enables us to keep delivering these meaningful stories that illuminate the wonder present in our existence. When Emma's health declined precipitously that decisive Tuesday night, her parents reached an agonizing conclusion that would violate every institutional regulation. They secretly brought Max into the intensive care unit, recognizing that if their daughter was approaching her final moments, those moments should include her cherished companion. The 6-year-old golden retriever appeared to comprehend the seriousness of his circumstances from the instant he crossed the threshold. His typically energetic disposition transformed into a grave, watchful posture as he moved toward Emma's bedside with measured, intentional movements. The healthcare professionals were at first disturbed by the animal's presence, but Dr. Mitchell reached an instantaneous determination that would trouble and motivate her for years afterward. She permitted Max to remain, recognizing that sometimes mercy must supersede regulations, particularly when traditional medical approaches had exhausted their potential. What transpired during the subsequent minutes would enter the realm of clinical folklore, spoken of in hospital hallways and examined in scholarly publications for generations thereafter. Max moved toward Emma's bed with an intensity that felt almost preternatural. He refrained from leaping or frolicking as was his custom, but instead positioned his large paws delicately on her bed's edge and locked his perceptive brown eyes onto her ashen features. The dog started emitting soft cries, a sound that seemed to penetrate beyond the rhythmic signals of the medical machinery. Then, in an instant that resisted rational interpretation, Max began performing something the clinical staff had never previously observed. He commenced breathing in flawless harmony with Emma's strained respiration, as though he was attempting to channel his own vital energy into her collapsing body. The cardiac monitor maintained its foreboding progression, yet something extraordinary was taking place. While Max sustained his watch, inhaling deeply and consistently while maintaining unbroken visual contact with Emma, the girl's irregular breathing rhythm started to normalize. Her blood oxygen measurements, which had been descending to critical depths, began to rise. The medical personnel observed an astonished quiet as biological markers that had been spiraling toward inevitable death started displaying indications of recovery. Dr. Mitchell subsequently characterized the moment as surreal, describing how Max appeared to be connecting with Emma on a plane that surpassed human comprehension. The dog's respiration became more emphatic, his chest expanding and contracting in a cadence that seemed to shepherd Emma's own pulmonary system back from the edge of collapse. It was as though Max was instructing her in breathing once more, in persisting, in surviving. Throughout 47 minutes, Max held his place, remaining motionless, remaining steadfast, channeling life into his cherished companion through pure determination and affection. The medical instruments that had been broadcasting alerts of approaching death progressively hushed as Emma's biological signs steadied and subsequently began to strengthen. Her complexion revived, her breathing intensified, and for the first occasion in weeks, her eyelids trembled open. The shift was so striking that Dr. Mitchell requested immediate supplementary diagnostics, certain that their instruments must be producing errors. However, examination after examination validated what appeared unfeasible. Emma was not merely stable, but genuinely progressing. The autoimmune indicators that had been ravaging her system demonstrated evidence of decline. Her internal organ performance was approaching typical parameters, and her pain measurements had diminished substantially. Max ultimately succumbed to fatigue, his purpose fulfilled, but the consequences to his own physiology were catastrophic. The remarkable exertion he had invested to rescue Emma had exacted a ruinous price on his elderly heart. While Emma gradually recuperated during the ensuing weeks, achieving an astounding recovery that mystified every medical expert participating in her treatment, Max's health declined. It was as though he had somehow bestowed his remaining time to the young girl who represented everything to him. The golden retriever departed peacefully 3 weeks following, encircled by the Rodriguez family and a medical staff that had witnessed something that contradicted every tenet of current medical understanding. Emma, now progressing toward complete restoration, cradled Max's paw as he drew his last breath, murmuring expressions of appreciation to the champion who had rescued her life through a demonstration of love so genuine and sacrificial that it transformed what the physicians believed they understood about restoration. If this narrative of supreme sacrifice and limitless love has moved your heart, please take a moment to like this video and distribute it to others who require reminders of the remarkable bonds that form between humans and animals. Share a comment describing your personal encounters with the therapeutic influence of animal companionship. And remember to subscribe to Untold Stories 0.4 for additional narratives that celebrate the exceptional love our animal companions contribute to our existence. Emma Rodriguez has become a thriving adolescent, yet she retains the recollection of Max's ultimate offering and the understanding that sometimes the most profound healing emerges not from pharmaceuticals or equipment, but from the infinite love of untold stories. Dr. Mitchell persists in researching the occurrence she observed that evening, but she has discovered that certain miracles are intended to be sensed rather than analyzed, encountered rather than rationalized, and treasured rather than scrutinized.